Hi guys, another video for you. So today we're going to look at Trikonasana, which is a really good pose because it helps open up your hamstrings, but also it releases the lower back and gives you some extension out of the sides of your waist. Joined with me today is the beautiful Michelle. She's going to be helping me work this posture. So she's going to reach her arms out to the sides. When you think about this pose, I want you to think about your legs as being as wide as your forearms to begin. Yeah. And then from here, think about your feet as being parallel to the short edges of your mat. So you've got a nice, solid, neutral foundation. She's going to bring her hands to her hips. As she brings her hands to her hips, she's going to bend the front knee and turn the toes to face the front of the room. And from here, what she just did was really rotate the femur bone deep in the hip socket as she turned the leg out. Now, before we move into the front leg a little bit more, we're going to move to the back leg. What tends to happen in Trikonasana is that the back toes tend to, Mish, can you turn your toes out? They turn out. And this is sending the back leg into a big external rotation. So you want to think back toes slightly turned in, but let's go too far with that. Turn them too far in. This is sending the back leg into too much of an internal rotation. So think about your back leg as being neutral, just the way we set up at the very beginning. So the toes, that's nice, are slightly turned in. And then from here, the heel is slightly turned out. So it's more or less the same stance you set up as we came into the posture, that neutral ground. Moving back towards the front leg. Now, as she turns these left toes out and she begins to straighten her left leg, let's take your arms out again. We can go a little bit longer here. Think about your legs as being a leg's distance apart in the posture. Now, think about the left big toe as pressing down, because what tends to happen in this pose is, can you kind of fall onto the outside edge of your left foot for a moment? The weight tends to go more pinky toe, fall onto the, yeah. The weight tends to go on the outside of the foot and we disengage all of these inner groin muscles. So as she presses the mound of the left big toe down, good, she hugs the outer ankle in. And then because we're working with someone who has a lot of range of motion, we're going to put a little bend in her left knee. But for the beginning of this, we're going to put a block under her calf. Yeah, and now she's going to straighten the leg. And from here, her aim is not to actually touch the block. That's the hard work. So that she always keeps that little bend in the knee and she starts to lift the left quadricep muscles up. Now, she's going to begin to hinge forward. And as she hinges forward, she's going to keep that lift from her abdominals, good, and her pelvis. And then she's going to lower her left hand down all the way onto the block. Your block has 3 heights, so you decide on which height makes you feel like the left side of your waist is as long as the right side of your waist. Now, Michelle's going to pull up through her right fingers, and as she does this, she's going to feel that plugging down of her feet. You want to think the lateral arch and the medial arch of your feet are active. They're both lifting. But then you want to think the toes are soft, but the mounds and the center of the heel is plugging down. With the right hip slightly forward, again, she's going to roll the inner left groin forward. So think about sending the inner left quadricep forward, that's it. But pulling the outer quadricep in as you draw the glute into the midline, that's nice. Then she's going to grow the left side of her waist forward. See if you can stretch this forward just a little bit more. And as she does that, she's going to draw her left butt towards her inner right thigh. And this will keep her connecting to her glute muscles. Now from here, we've got another bendy body. So what tends to happen is, can we go into a big sway back? She's got a big back bend. And what's happening is she's just sitting in the middle of her back. So you want to think ribs in, that was nice. As she draws the ribs in, there's that containment from the pelvis. And then from here, the sides of her waist are more or less the same length, but as is her front body and her back body. Now she's going to reach her right arm up and overhead. As the right arm goes up and overhead, what can happen in this pose is the arm can crowd the face. So you want to think about the arm as being higher than the ear. What can happen here as well is we can lose the neck. Let's move these traps up. So you want to think about the trapezius muscles as sliding down the back. That's nice. As the tips of the shoulder blades move in, they also fan apart. Good. And now you can see that she's working really hard with this left leg. I'm going to put even more of a bend in the knee. Then from here, she's really working the work of lifting the top of the left thigh bone up into the pelvis to really engage her leg muscles. And then she finds that revolving that we find in Vashisthasana. That's good. The stacking of the rib cage, the pinning of the outer hips in, and the length from the side body. All the while plugging down through the mound of the left big toe and anchoring through the outside edge of the right foot. She's going to reach her right arm straight up. As she reaches it up, she presses down to rise up. So there's a clear root and rebound energy. And then she's going to slowly bend the left knee and parallel the foot spinning on the heel towards the short edge of the mat. where we started. Hope that was helpful. Thanks for tuning in. See you down the yoga road.